Hello, welcome to another episode of Orgasm Oracle Podcast Show. Woo-hoo. And I have a very special guest with me here today. She's a peer of mine, and her name is Claudia Scarlet. And we're talking today, I have goosebumps already. My favorite, probably one of my favorite topics ever.
Yes.
Cervical orgasm is the portal, and it's so in line with my cause of expanding past just like the typical heteronormative, like penis-bodied, comparative or orgasm with just your clitoris. So yeah, let's first though hear about you, Claudia. Like, what makes you you? What are your pronouns? Who do you coach? Draw us a picture here.
Yes. So first of all, super honored. Thank you for having me. So I'm Claudia Scarlet. I work as a love and sex coach. She, her, heterosexual. I really am passionate about guiding humans, men, women, non-binary, on reclaiming their power and pleasure. Using tantric tools, really bringing presence back in the body in such a taboo topic such as sex, as well as reclaiming intimacy in relationships.
Amazing. And where are you from?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Living in Barcelona, born and raised in the U.S., in Connecticut.
Okay.
And with Polish origins.
Okay.
So kind of
nice.
all over the place.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So where do we even start with this?
No.
Like, okay, what is your definition of a cervical orgasm? Like, can you tell us, and then I'm going to ask you how you got here, but what is it? Like, I'm sure a lot of people don't even have an idea of what it is. When I first think about it too, and when I talk about it with other people, you know, a lot of people have like IUDs and such, and they just like don't even think about their cervix. I mean, I had a lot of pain with mine at the beginning. But I just like completely ignored my cervix. Yeah. I just thought of it as like the thing you put an IUD through and try not to get pregnant through or something. I don't know. Like, I just had no connection to it. So what is the cervix?
Yes.
What is a cervical orgasm?
Beautiful questions. Let's start there, because the cervix, like, first of all, it's such a weird word. Like, nobody teaches us very much about it, especially in sex ed. Like, I don't remember hearing about the cervix.
No, not at all.
It's very commonly used. It's very, like, medical. Like, people only learn about it if they have a medical issue.
I had a coloscopy once, and we can talk about that after. But yeah.
So the cervix is basically the entrance to the womb. So at the very end, like if people look at a diagram of the vagina, of the pelvis, the female pelvis, there is like the vagina is the canal, right? So the vulva is the outside, the vagina is the canal, and at the end of the vagina of the canal, there's like a little.
It looks like two fingertips when you put them together.
Or like a donut.
That's nice to say.
Sometimes.
A donut?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I always see it a little bit as like a pink fleshy donut.
Yeah.
And
very small though.
Yeah, very small. Not like donut size, but very, very tiny. Yeah. And when you feel it, it feels very much like the tip of your nose. And yes, it is the entrance to the womb space. So this is where babies come out of. So where they first, that's why I like to call it a portal, because it's very much the separator between realms, between this physical world and this like unseen realm where life begins, right? So that's the cervix. Where we put the IUD in. Yeah. A lot of us have a lot of pain. I also had a lot of pain in my
numbness.
Cervix. Numbness as well. So lack of sensation is also very common. But it's not something we learn about as a pleasurable point, right? You can also call it the C spot. Yeah. But basically it has so much potential, because there are just like 3 different nerves. So you have, I don't even know if I remember.
The pudendal.
You just took a quiz on this.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. The vagus.
The vagus.
This is why I'm passionate about it.
And I think the pelvic nerve.
Yes.
I think those 3.
Those 3. So when we talk about the clitoral orgasm, I think it's just pudendal, right? The exterior. I think they're trying to call it something else, because pudendal means shame, which it's like we're trying to get that out. So it's the exterior pelvic nerve.
Wow.
So that's, one nerve, which is beautiful, But with the cervix, you have 3 different nerves. And the vagus nerve starts from the cervix and goes all the way up to your brain.
Yeah.
And it regulates our nervous system.
Yeah.
And in Tantra, it's the central channel. And there's a lot of work that you can do to like bring that pleasure up.
Who knew? And like, as far as the nervous system goes in a vaginal body, the canal has a bit less like nerve system turn on, and then I find like the entrance and then the cervix has more nerve to it.
Yes.
So there's a huge potential for pleasure there.
So much potential, and I think not just pleasure and not just orgasm. I think also like the consequences. Like I was just reading about it, and the vagus nerve, you know, really controls our mind, our body, our emotions, a lot of different things. And cervical orgasm can actually be used to relieve anxiety and depression. And I think there needs to be so much education of how we interact with the cervix, and to know, you know, the cervix moves up and down during the cycle.
Totally.
And as well as arousal.
Yes.
When a woman or female is being aroused, there's like this movement, the ligaments of the womb actually pull up, and the cervix goes up with it to avoid this battering. Yeah. Because the cervix doesn't like battering. Yeah. So this typical like porn.
Yeah. And like everyone is all about like the huge dick like slamming up in there. And
it
like,
hurts
I mean,
just hearing about
I'm not a huge big dick fan, but like, but when you're really safe and turned on, I can handle more because it moves, and like, you know, everyone's seen those like porn pictures maybe where like the dick's in front of it and it's like up to your belly button at least.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? It's like, but it's true. Like it can go, like you can take a lot because it moves when you have this like safety and surrender. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's when we are fully aroused.
Yes, yes.
And that can take up to 40 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
So a lot of us are going into penetration.
Yeah, way
too early. And we're slamming against the cervix, which creates pain, which can create, obviously, that nerve is going to be touched, and it's going to try to tense.
Totally.
And when we have that tension, that's when the anxiety, the nervous system goes into
it like clenches,
freeze, or into this kind of yucky feeling. Yeah. And there could be pain.
Totally.
And
it can be like, and then turn into like mental pain and everything.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. Yeah. And that's very much my story. I started having panic attacks when I was 21.
Wow.
And depression, all these things. And I remember when I started doing cervical de-armoring, I mean, you just release so much.
Wow.
And it really regulated my nervous system. And I was like, the world needs to know about this.
So I don't think I've talked about de-armoring really yet on this podcast. So de-armoring is when you use either a tool or your own fingers or your partner's fingers, or a penis can be used as well. And you go and kind of find tension spots, massage it, work into it, and it can release a lot of emotions and trauma and these kinds of things. It can bring up memories, all kinds of stuff. We were just talking about it at the table the other night. I was doing it with my client for the first time, and my client hadn't really felt anything. It was because it was the first time she was de-armoring, which is so profound, because how many of us like really go that deep into our vaginal canal, feel our cervix, and then go and touch it and de-armor it. And often there's, not much sensation at the beginning. And I also want to note here too, this whole practice can be done energetically. You don't necessarily have to even have a cervix, because I work with a lot of people who are women who don't have a physical cervix. So you can also do it energetically. And also if you have like vaginismus or tension, pain where you can't go in because it's too sensitive, you can also do it energetically. So how did you find de-armoring? Like, I only heard about it with Layla's work like a couple years ago. So yeah, I was really big. I started my sexual healing journey with the jade egg. Okay, me too.
Yeah. It's so powerful. And I experienced so much sensitivity after that, and I didn't even realize about the cervix until the certification course. And I just remember it was like a before and after. And I mean, it's just your whole system goes, ugh.
Yeah, it's life-changing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also like how, I mean, anxiety and depression are very much in the mind, right?
Yeah.
You're not in the present moment. Like it's either you're in the future or
Yeah,
you're in the
cortex.
past. Yeah, exactly. And I found that working with the cervix and releasing a lot of this old crap really helped me to be more present in this moment, which made me happier, more relaxed. I don't have this constant like talking in my head and like the control. It helps to surrender, which is so needed these days.
Yeah. Surrender is a big word, I would say, because I use it for like a lot of witchiness and channeling. And so only when I'm like in deep surrender and openness is when like those things come through. Exactly. So yeah. So what the fuck is a cervical orgasm? Like, can you describe it? I mean, I'll describe it like myself after, but like, what's your description? What's your embodiment of it? What is it to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's so hard to put into words. I think you did such a good job earlier, and I've been trying, but I think one of the most potent cervical orgasms that I've ever had felt like almost like a parting in two, where it was like really like in a pleasurable way, not in a painful way, but like it's like so deep that like you feel like you're being cracked open to the universe, and like you just feel it all throughout this central channel. You feel it in all the chakras. You feel like the heart open. Your mind just connects to the deepest. Like I'm already like, oh yes,
yeah, I'm feeling it too.
I'm already like, you know, connecting to the divine on this really, really deep level.
Yeah.
Yum.
I even had a client once who was talking about how she could feel her cervix was just like this magical door that she needed to open. And then when we did open it, like, fuck yeah, it was like so magical in there.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I guess my description is this deep surrender to deep like openness. I like, again, this like cracking open, like I find it's like these doors like really opening, and then like tunnels, and it's this this vortex. Okay, me and Claudia, we received this wild orgasmic sexual hypnosis yesterday. We had this like keyword of vortex where you can like tap it back into it. So I'm like careful to use the word.
So I was like, be careful. Do you know Abraham Hicks?
Oh no. I mean, I heard the name.
It's really cool, but it's basically like this woman who channels these like beings, and they use the word vortex all the time. I can't wait to listen to that nonstop.
But a cervical orgasm, like that's what it feels like, a vortex.
Yeah.
Like it really is this vortex and this channeling. And I love to use it for when I do this kind of witchiness orgasm work. I personally go in with no specific desire, and I just open it and see what comes through. And I've like gone to speaking tongues with it. I've used my obsidian. It gets like really wild and like animalistic and primal. I find it like touches the deepest part of my nervous system, like this really primal place. And it gets very ancestral too. Like I really can feel like my grandmothers, and because we all came through, you know, these cervixes, and we had like our mothers in their mothers like had because your eggs are already developed in the grandmother, right? So anything that's like going on with your grandmother, like you
feel and have in your body.
You have in your body. So I find the cervix is just such a connection to that.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it is this really like full body experience, cosmic.
Very cosmic, yeah, I would say. And I love that what you shared earlier, like these downloads, where it's like really you get into, I mean, it is a huge altered state of consciousness already, orgasm, and I think cervix is just even deeper. Yeah. And this connection with the divine, I mean, I was interviewing several women what it feels like, and that's something that kept coming up, was this connection, not just to yourself, but also to your partner, to the universe, to nature, to your guides maybe. And also something that I found that's very particular to cervical orgasm is that get filled up with energy
Oh,
afterwards.
yeah.
You're filled up with your own
you don't feel
energy.
exhausted after.
Yeah.
You feel energized.
Yes.
That's so true.
It's better than coffee.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
It's like, and you're filled with your own energy.
Yeah.
And I think something important to note as well, according to the Tantric tradition, like the cervix is home to the Kundalini energy, which is your kind of divine...
Like sexual energy.
Yes, but also like
vitality.
Like I would say it's like
That's
a divine energy.
Okay.
Like really the divine waking up in you.
Yeah.
And the more you work with cervix, the more that gets activated and the potential for that to wake up, which is like a battery that turns on in your system and whew, it's very powerful.
Yeah. Fuck yes. So if someone wants one, like how would you like guide someone without, the one-on-one like container holding, or would you say like, don't go for it on your own, or what would be like your typical advice?
Yeah. Well, I'm working on a course right now, a group course.
Cool.
Specifically about this.
Cool.
And I'm really trying to figure out like what are the best tools, at least in my experience and from what I've learned and what I hear from others. And I think, like what you said, like first tapping into it energetically. I think a lot of people sometimes have shame or disgust about touching themselves. So really working the energetic, the visualization of releasing before even going to the physical.
Yes.
So cervical de-armoring for sure.
Yeah.
But also working with surrender. I think there's really like something that people struggle with with orgasm is, the mind is always just, the cortex is on. We want to be in control or we don't feel safety, etc. And really leaning back into it and letting go of control. And it's a practice. Yes. So there is this mental component, which, breath work is an amazing tool for this, and learning to just let go of that cortical control, entering that older state of consciousness, knowing that you will survive. I mean, the ego, it's called le petit mort, in French, which is the little death. The little death. I think it's the little death of the ego. Yeah. But the ego will try so hard to stay alive. Yeah. And, it's really a practice. It's a meditation to let go, to come back into the body, come back into cervix, let that energy go throughout your whole body. Also how to cycle that energy. Yeah. So those are a few tips and tricks I can recommend, and that I'll be teaching in my course. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, because this like tantric definition of orgasm, like 1 is sensation, 2 is mind shift, or 2 is expansion and movement, and then 3 is mind shift. And that mind shift, to get there, you have to trust, you have to feel safe, and surrender. And I find surrender is one of those things too, like you think you're doing it, but then like when you really get it, that's when it makes more sense. Yeah. It's like, very abstract. Yeah. The concept of surrender, like I didn't know what it was until I experienced it. And I think so many of us are really craving it. Yeah. And it's really the key to these mystical, huge experiences. Yeah. And I find it's a lot about like first believing in it. Like believe you can have a cervical orgasm. Like that's the first step. And then like move towards it. Yeah. And maybe if you don't fully believe it, like it will come along. Yeah. That's the thing too. Yeah. And not pushing it either. Yeah. Because I think when we go in, like, I have to have a cervical orgasm, it's not going to happen, right? So I think setting intention, setting the intention that that's something you want to have. Something else that blew my mind was like the Taoist concept of the 3 gates. So that you can have all of them. So you can start with clitoral, go to G-spot, and end with cervix. Yeah. And that's when cervix is really ready, because it takes, a few minutes for all those things to happen. And then you go to cervix and it's like, bam, she's open. And that was something that blew my mind. I was like, no, you can either have the clitoral, the G-spot, or the cervix. And it's like, no, you can have it all. Oh, yeah. And isn't that the best message for everyone? Yeah, I find I have clitoral last typically. It's like my finale piece. Really? Yeah, I don't know. It like wraps up. It's the bow that wraps. Because I don't actually clitoral orgasm very easily. Okay. Yeah, it's actually quite difficult for me. Okay. Especially if it's my own hands. It just like takes a long time. So it's like the last thing I do. It's the finale piece. Oh, fantastic. And there's a big connection. I feel a gift in that actually. Yeah. Because it doesn't happen easily, I got to explore all these other orgasms. And
I was like, I'm not orgasming. That can't be the case.
Yeah.
And then I like learned about Tantra and I was like, I'm not orgasming. Yes, like what I thought was true is true. So,
oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a gift. That is a gift. And something else that I think is important to state, that cervical orgasms are powerful, but there's no hierarchy. So it's nothing better than any other kind of orgasm. I've had clitoral orgasms that are just as powerful as cervical orgasms. Totally. So it has nothing to do with like, okay, this is better. I think that's something that happens in the Tantra world, and people don't feel it, and then it feels off. Yeah. But they're every orgasm. Yeah, is
I'm an advocate of all orgasms in any which way or how. Yeah. The only thing I talk about is like trying not to do them cyclically all the time. Like if every single night you have a clitoral orgasm in this exact way, switch it up. Yes. Like don't centralize your pleasure. Yeah. Expand your pleasure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love it.
So you were kind of mentioned it a little bit, but what was your journey to cervical orgasm? What made you so passionate about it? What's your personal story? Get vulnerable here, please.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I started off my sex life. It was kind of a disaster.
So did you hear that? It was a disaster.
It was a disaster.
She kind of mumbled it, but whose wasn't? Even I was like this wild slut, and mine still was a disaster.
I feel like there's like some people who like have this beautiful like, oh, I was with my first boyfriend and it was like a magical night and we waited.
I mean, I was really lucky. Mine was amazing the first night, but it wasn't like what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't conscious. It was all over the damn place.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, we don't really know what's going on the first time we have it.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I always had a lot of fear and shame. Raised in a Catholic household.
Okay.
History of sexual abuse. And basically I started having sex just because I was like, oh, I need to belong, I need to fit in, and I had to be drunk for the first 6 years or so. When I was 25, I had sex sober, and it was super painful. Wow. And I was like, fuck, something needs to change. It took me forever to orgasm, so I started with the jade egg. Got sucked into Taoism, to Tantra. I started figuring out like, wow, orgasm is not just for pleasure. It's also for your health. Yeah. It also has these mental, emotional benefits, and you can use that. You can use that for that creative energy, not just for babies, but for business, for whatever you desire to birthing into the world, to give back to
relationship, relationship with friends, with family, with romantic, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I also struggled a lot with, here I guess we get a little bit into the binary, but with men, I had a big fear of men and had a lot of this masculine energy and, this idea of surrender and safety, and cervical orgasm was a tool to help me to let go and to be more. Yeah. Rather than always having to be productive, always having to do something, having to control something, having this and a list and a plan and this and latching on to the guy. And
I totally get that.
So that was a little bit my journey.
Yeah.
That's why I'm very passionate about it, because I think, the jade egg, which I teach a course on as well, was a huge part, and I'm so passionate about it. And then the second one was really cervical.
Yeah.
And I feel like these are two really concrete things that people can do to just heal and experience this amazing pleasure that is available to us. Yeah. And I just want everybody to feel that.
I feel, yeah. If you hear my work, it's all about just like, I want everyone to orgasm more, you know? And just like expand more and get mind fucked. Yes. And fuck yourself.
Yeah. And let go of the mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like mind fucked, like so your mind's gone.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just you feel the divine.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that. So what was your first orgasm? And what was your first like cervical orgasm?
So I didn't realize, I'll share the story of the first orgasm that I had that was a few years ago, because the first ones I don't really remember.
Okay, that's okay.
But
I was an alcoholic, so I totally understand.
Oh, you get it. Yeah. So I I didn't realize that for many years, even after even during and after the certification course, that I was disassociating during sex, and I thought that like there was a lot of pleasure, and I thought it was an orgasm.
Yeah,
and I remember
I can relate to that too. I had a lot of astral projection.
Yeah,
like I would be out of my body watching myself have sex.
Yes, something like this. I didn't watch myself, but I wasn't in the body. Yeah. And then I had an embodied orgasm, which I think I was cervical. Okay. And that was just like, oh, damn. Ooh. That is what an orgasm is supposed to feel like. Like, I'm still here. I'm still in this body. Yeah. I feel that rush going up. Yeah. But I'm still here. Yes. And I still feel good. Exactly. I still feel safe.
I can relate to that.
And I did, right after, have a different kind of orgasm where I disassociated again. And I was like, oh, fuck, I never want this again.
You could see the difference.
Yeah. But it's really powerful. I think a lot, I don't know how other people experience it, but it's such a personal and unique experience.
It is. That's also a big part of my work, is about, like, it's your authentic experience. It's no one else's. Yeah. And I, as a coach, like, I believe you. Yeah. Like, not just as a coach, as a being, as your friend, as everything, but in my coaching, like, you're going to come to me and tell me your experience, and I fucking believe you because you know your experience. Yeah. It doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what my experience is. It matters what yours is. And that's so powerful. Yeah. And so was that first one, was it with a penis? Was it with, Yeah.
I mean, I had cervical orgasms before that with a dildo with my fingers. But that one was just so memorable because it was the first time I was with a partner. And
what position were you in?
I was on top.
Okay, yeah, that's where. Yeah.
And there was so much foreplay beforehand. This man was very embodied as well. Nice. So very attuned to me and could feel, and wow, it was. Yeah, really life-changing. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I do this one move where, like, I'm on top of a penis and I'm squatting. Like, my feet are flat and then I squat and then I circular motion my hips. So it's like going around my cervix. Oh, it's wild. And then I do a lot of voice, like, and connect it. Oh, highly recommend.
But my question is, when you're in the squat on top, like, aren't you tense to have the orgasm?
No, I find, like, the squat, like, my feet are flat and I'm relaxed. Yeah. Like, my hips are, I'm not, like, propped up. Yeah. I'm sitting on them, but I bend the knees. Okay. So that, I don't know, it's just, like, so open. Because when you squat, because, like, that's why in my pelvic floor work, I always tell people use a squatty potty. Because that's what opens all your pelvic floor.
The muscles.
Yeah. Yum. Yeah, that's why we should be squatting when we shit and piss and everything.
Yeah, like in Asia, right?
Yeah. Like when you are in that 90-degree angle, your muscles in your pelvic floor are a lot more contracted, so you can't release, feces or whatever as easily. But when I'm in this, like, squat and, like, stirring the cauldron and voicing, because your voice is so connected to your pelvic floor, it's like this it's a wild experience. And I mean, that's always actually also my number one advice for people with who want to have more expanded orgasms is use your voice. Like, learn to get loud, learn that your neighbors are fucking gifted for hearing you. And, like, it's interesting too, because any partner I'm with, like, loves my noises and gets off on them.
For sure.
So, but they're always like, you're the loudest I've ever experienced. And, like, I just am a loud person. I mean, so it suits me.
Take up space.
But yeah, I highly recommend working on being able to voice. I find it really helps with that surrender.
Absolutely.
And it physically helps, not just metaphysically, but it, like, physically actually helps.
Yeah, it's a vibration, right? Totally. And also when we're talking about sexual energy, like, and you are using your voice, that's also energy. So you're just expanding. Yeah. Using a different kind of energy. That's sound
taking
energy.
Up space.
Yeah. And just amplifying it.
I love putting it that way. Yeah. Amazing.
Everything is energy.
Yummy. Yeah. So, what is your definition of orgasm? If you had to choose, like, a definition, what would it be?
I really love the idea that orgasm is just anything that connects you to the divine.
Mm.
So, like, for example, I was thinking, like, the state of no mind as well.
The state of no mind. The
Yeah.
state of no mind. I love that.
But also connected to the body.
Yes.
So there is that sensation that you're still here, and it can be anything that's like a physical sensation, physical phenomenon that connects you to the divine.
I love that.
So a foodgasm, for example.
Yeah.
Like, I have moments where I just have to stop because the food is just like, oh, I just need to appreciate this. Like, how does this exist?
I know. Yum.
So, yeah, foodgasm, orgasm, you know, any gasm, laughtergasm, angergasm, all of it.
Ecosexual, like I'm really into like the earth, the ocean, the sun, trees.
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck yes. Yeah, I really love that because it's an embodied experience. But it is that connection to the divine and pleasure and
and letting the mind go.
Yeah, and letting the mind go.
Letting the ego go and just connecting to your divinity, your truth.
Yeah,
your essence.
Yeah. I always say, like, in orgasm or in sexual experience, either with yourself or with a partner, can you laugh? Can you cry? Like, can you cackle? Can you feel so safe that if you cackled, like, it would be fine? If you sobbed, if you screamed, if you roared.
You make animal noises.
Yeah. Like, can you feel that safe? Yeah. And if you don't, it's fine, but, like, work towards feeling that safe with yourself and with a partner. Yeah. And that is the key to expanding your orgasm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the number one foundation of any orgasm. I would say safety. The orgasm can't happen if your fear receptors are on. If your nervous system is stuck in the sympathetic.
Yeah.
Where it's on.
Yeah. Sympathetic, parasympathetic. Yeah.
Sympathetic is when you're relaxed, and sympathetic is when you're activated. And I love the quote, like, pleasure and fear can't coexist.
Pleasure and fear can't coexist. I love that. Yeah. It's funny because I have an interesting relationship to fear where I kind of love it and get off on it.
Okay.
But I also have to dissolve it when I want the pleasure. Like, I have the fear up to the point and then I jump off the cliff and I'm like, this is pleasurable.
Yeah. I mean, fear in the end is just a sensation.
Yeah.
And if you can move that as well, it can be an ingredient towards your orgasm. It's just energy as well.
Yeah. That's something I love about Tantra, right? Is that it's all about, like, there's no good and bad.
Yes.
Just all of it is just beautiful, and let's just, like, have it all. Like, we're in this pussy mansion where I recorded not last week's episode, but yeah. I'm like, when is this gonna come out? Anyway, the last episode I did with a peer was at the pussy mansion as well. And yesterday I was just in a bad mood, and I just, like, came upstairs and I was like, I'm just in a bad mood today. I'm just going to be in a bad mood. And everyone's like, great. Like, good for you. Like, awesome. I support your bad mood.
Yeah. You're going to cry? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The moments where people are crying in this house are just, like, stunning.
Yeah.
They're just like, and tell me more. And, like, there's, like, somebody's crying and there's just, like, 5 sisters.
Yeah. And you just, like, let them have it.
Yeah.
None of us are like, oh my God, it's okay. No.
Or just be happy. Like, don't, look, there's all these good things. Like, no, like,
let it all just happen.
We're going to be with you.
Yeah.
Until you let those tears go.
Seriously. Yeah. And if you want to be on your own, we totally support that too. Because we support autonomy and radical self-care.
And flow.
Yeah.
In the house. Like,
totally.
Radical, like, self-responsibility. And just, if you want to come, great. If you don't want to come, whatever. Yeah. It's so free.
And changing, like, the culture around you, right? I find that always really helps my orgasms, is, like, when I can just cry naturally, then in the bedroom, I'm going to be able to do it better too, right? Yeah. Changing your culture around you and the people around you who support that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that. So, is there anything else before we do a little embodiment? anything else on like your relationship to pleasure in and out of the bedroom, or anything else that people need to like know about cervical orgasms other than like they need to have one? They don't need to, but like
need to.
I highly recommend.
But it is a beautiful experience that we both highly recommend. I love like what your message is. Just expand and explore and be curious and play and don't take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Like, have one, don't have one. Just every moment that you spend in connection with your body is sacred. That's what my cervix wants you all to know.
Yum. Okay. So if it's okay with you, we're going to do just a little embodiment, and you're welcome to follow along. If you're driving, do not close your eyes, please. But yeah, let's just take a couple of breaths in, dropping into the body, maybe inhaling into the cervix here. You can even put a hand over that energetic space if you like. And maybe we'll specifically talk to your cervical orgasm, your cervical oracle. Claudia, what does your cervical orgasm have to tell you personally in this moment? Just take a moment to listen and then share whenever you're ready.
It's not like a word, but it's like this expansion of love in my heart. That I think I said it today before our cacao ceremony as well. Like, we don't need love from outside of ourselves. We are love. It starts from in here. It starts from this pleasure that is existing in our body, that nourishes the love in our heart, that just radiates outward and is here to be almost like a lighthouse for the rest of the world. And it's not something that you need to outsource or, find love. It's already within you. And everyone has that within them. And that there's just, I don't know, love is really a path to enlightenment.
Juicy.
Yeah. Wow. My heart is so expanded now. Thank you for guiding that.
Yeah, thank you to your cervical orgasm and oracle for speaking up and just reminding us that we are love. Like, how incredible. What a beautiful message.
Yeah. Wow.
So is there anything else left unsaid? Is there any other like key point advice you want to drive home?
I think mic drop. We said it all. Love is the path to enlightenment.
Yes.
We all are love. And cervical orgasm is a huge tool to also dive into ease. And life can be easy.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be difficult.
Yeah. And I also just want to drive the point home that like you don't have to have a cervix physically for this type of enlightenment orgasmic work. You can have an energetic cervix, and I'm firmly into that stuff. And I guess we didn't really talk about coloscopy and such. I guess I'll touch on that in just for a moment. When they like did slight surgery on my cervix, that was, a moment of when I got to see my cervix with the scope. You get to watch it on TV. I was so excited until they like actually touched it, and it was horrific. But I just want to say too, like, your cervix will forgive you.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so incredible when you reconnect to your cervix, and whatever, may have happened or didn't happen with your cervix, you can reach forgiveness there. And it is such a portal of forgiveness and love. And and it's important to reconnect. And I even said this to my client the other day who did this for the first time, de-armoring, and we reached the cervix, like how many people don't go there.
Oh my gosh.
You know, how many people don't touch it pleasurably?
Yeah.
How many people don't talk to their cervix? So many people don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. So people don't know what cervix is.
Yeah.
Or if they do, it's in this medical,
Yeah.
you know, there's a condition, there's something wrong. It's not, like we said earlier, there's like no awareness that there's so much pleasure there, but it's such a fountain. And I think it really does connect us to our power. And when you connect to cervix, energy of cervix.
Yeah. Ancestral power in the moment. Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks. So it has been such a pleasure having you here. How can people find you? What's your website? Do you have Instagram? Do you have, what else you got?
Yes, I have Instagram at sexandsoulcoach. And same website, www.sexandsoulcoach.com. And you can connect with me there.
And you've got a group program. You do one-on-one.
Yes. Yeah. Group program on cervical orgasm coming out November. Jade Egg course and one-on-one work in relating. So tantric relating.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. Mwah. And thank you so much gratitude to your cervix for showing up today.
Yes. Thank you.
Speaking to us. And yes, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Mwah.